Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast. This is episode 2 of the You Only Live Once podcast, and I'm super excited to be back. Today is actually Halloween, and it has been 2 months since I last recorded the episode. So if you're on YouTube, a couple things have changed. I did dye my hair brown. I guess that's the only thing that's changed. But something that's very much changed my entire life is I turned 18 throughout this time period, and that is actually going to be what today's episode is about. It's going to be about growing up and turning into an adult, but in general, just like growing up and a few talks about that. And then I do want at the end to talk about something else that is going on right now that is very important, but I will wait until the end to talk about that. So, my birthday is on September 1st. I turned 18. I am recording on October 31st, so it's been 2 months now since my birthday, and I have been 18 for quite some time now. Okay, not quite some time, 2 months. But, yeah, there's a few things that have changed. I have a notepad here, so if you're on YouTube, I will be looking at this a little bit, and then if I take a pause or something on the audio, I'm probably just looking at my notes because I did want to touch on a few things during this episode. So yeah, I recently turned 18, and honestly, during the day, it wasn't that big of a deal to me because I did not have an average childhood, so I did have to grow up quite quickly, in my words. I had a lot of stuff that I had to deal with, and I had to basically be very independent throughout my childhood and very much grow up quickly and get things done. And it shaped who I am as a person, and there's obviously things wrong with my childhood, but I wouldn't change it because it made me who I am today. So turning 18, on my birthday, it was kind of strange to me because I was like, I'm finally at the point that I've always wanted to be. I've always wanted to be, everyone looks forward to being 18. And sorry, my cat, I feel like every episode we're just going to have a time where Blair completely goes unhinged. But what was I talking about? Sorry, Blair interrupted me. I when I turned 18, I just was like, this is what I've been waiting for. This is the day that I've been waiting for my entire life, basically. And I don't know, it didn't feel, it was a great birthday, don't get me wrong, but it didn't feel super significant. It didn't feel anything different. It was nice. It was a good birthday. But yeah, so I recently turned 18, and I've done the whole spiel. I've gotten tattoos. I got piercings. I did my 18-year-old requirements that you have to do when you turn 18. And I love it. I love the freedom, and I am blessed with a very good mom who allowed me to have independence. So when I turned 18, I did obviously get more now it's all okay, you're on your, she didn't say I'm on my own, but I can do whatever I want now. But it's not I'm not the rebellious type to just do whatever I want. I genuinely do not care. So that is how I felt turning 18. But I wanted to talk about some deeper sides to growing up and some deeper things that I think about a lot. And also, I think it's very important to stay on the theme of the podcast, You Only Live Once. I think it's very important growing up to remember this type of stuff. So there's definitely a fear of being on your own. I think as one turns 18, it's okay, I am now on my own. You're literally, society has paved it in a way you are sent out into the world and you are just on your own, and that is it, and you now have to fend for yourself in every single way, and it's a very scary thought, and it's a very scary thing. I don't think people understand. Obviously people understand because everyone has at a time turned 18, but for each person it's different, and it's just kind of crazy to think about that. It's once you're 18, you are legally, you are on your own. Your parents, they don't have any say, I mean, obviously it depends on your relationship, but legal terms, you're on your own. So it's a very scary thing. And I mean, personally, I know I have obviously a different route of turning 18. I'm not going to college, so why most people that I know and most people that are around me celebrate their 18th birthday going to college, I'm obviously not going to college. So it was a bit different for me because I don't think I felt too, like, alone, because most people are already in college when they turn 18, so they're away from their parents and they're away and everything. Obviously, I'm still home. I'm leaving in 2 months. Um, and but also, like, when I leave, like, that's I'm gonna be the most alone I have ever been, physically, at least. I mean, I'm going across the world to an entirely different continent knowing no one. So it's a very scary thought, and it's been on my mind obviously a lot recently, because as the days are ticking down and as I'm getting closer to moving, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna be alone, and like I'm gonna be like, I have to handle myself and I have to fend for myself, which I can do because I'm an independent woman. It's just that fear that one has when you're on your own. But also, I feel like we shouldn't look at it as so much as a fear, because it's also such a beautiful thing. Because, like, during this time, you get to I'm talking time of 18, but at any age, you get to experience a new side of yourself, and you get to experience something that, like, no one could ever take from you. Like, it why it's scary, yes, but it's also like, another way to look at it is like, I'm like, oh my God, like, I'm 18, like, I'm an adult. I can go out and do what I want and, like, be able to experience that for myself and be able to be my own person and just have, like, that thought where it's like, I'm, like, free. Not that, like, I was in prison or anything, but it's just like, it's a different type of free, which I'm sure everyone who has turned 18 has felt. But yeah, I just think it's like such a cool but also scary thing to turn 18. I think that's why 18 is such a, like, fundamental year that everyone, like, looks forward to and everyone thinks about, because so much does change when it comes to, like, independence, even, like, taxes, bro, and voting, and I don't know why I said bro, I'm sorry, but taxes and insurance and voting, and I don't even know what else is all out there, but credit cards, like, there's so much that comes to turning 18. Um, and you just strive for your independence. Like, once you turn 18, you're like, I'm on my own. Like, I want to be independent. I want to be by myself. And I think it's such a beautiful thing to strive for the independence, because you help Blair is back on the screen if you're on YouTube. Blair is entered. Um, but you have, like, it people who want something have such a wonderful sorry, Blair's distracting me, so I, like, got lost for words. But people who want something, you can see their drive and you can see their ambition, and it's such an inspiring thing. And I think it's so inspiring that when they turn 18, they strive for that independence and they work for that independence and they look forward to that. And I think it's such a important thing to think about, is what independence means to you, and what are you going to do to work towards that independence. I mean, I know that my independence is traveling the world and doing photography and like, literally becoming obsessed. I saw something recently and it was like, you have to, oh, well, I don't know what Blair just knocked off, but she knocked off something. But it said or it was around the words of this. It said people who strive for their dream or become obsessed with it, or something around the lines of that. And it's like, if you want something so much, and if you desire something, if you want to do this more than anything, you have to become obsessed with it. And I think that's such a true thing. And I will talk about this in a later episode on like, dreams in general, and, like, not just sleepy time dreams obviously, but goals and inspirations in life. But I think it's such an important thing to have a goal that you want to do that is so important to you, that you do literally become obsessed with it. And if you look around and think of all, and when I say successful right now, I will be talking about the rich people, the wealthy people. But if you look at all the successful people in life, if they are not from generational wealth, they worked their asses off to get where they are, and they worked hard to get where they are, and they literally became obsessed with what they wanted to do because they knew they wanted to do that, and they knew they wanted to get out of the societal generational trend of working the average 9 to 5 and staying in an office. And I don't want to get too much into this because I do want to do another episode about this. But when you strive for that independence and you strive for your goal and you dream towards it, you will be successful. And I'm not talking well successful now. I'm talking about successful in yourself and successful in your happiness and what you want to do in your life. You will be successful in your life. Whether that means being happy, which I think that's what successful means. That's what it means to me. That's the definition to me. It means being happy in what I want to do and being comfortable and being able to, like live the life I want to live, to put it frankly. And when you turn 18, you just get that. I mean, people can get it obviously before they turn 18, but when you turn 18, it's like a sudden, like, I can do this, that, like, I feel like everyone almost gets, and it's just an amazing thing that happens. And I know that when I turned 18, I got it. That was like the last step to me. I was like, okay, I'm 18, let's do it. Like, I'm ready to hit the high road. I'm ready to hit that airplane. Like, take me out into the world and let me explore. And I think, sorry, Blair's crashed, and then I also got a message. But speaking of goals and speaking of dreams, speaking of like growing up, make sure you do what makes you happy. Make sure that growing up and getting older, you aren't getting older and mentally decreasing. Like, I don't know how much I can strive, how important it is to do what makes you happy and not what society wants and not what your parents want, and which I know can be hard. I know. And I know that it seems such a scary thought to be like, I want to do this so bad, but I don't know if I will be supported in it. I don't know if I will be able to do it. I don't know if I have enough money to do it. I mean, that is such a big thing, and nowadays is just general money. Some people don't do what they want to do because they might not have the funds for it, which is obviously a completely different thing and a completely valid reason to be scared and to not want to do it. But if for the rest of your life, if you are not going to be happy, isn't it worth it to take that jump and to take that leap? Because how are you going to love living and love life if you're not happy? And I'm not saying happy like you're smiling every day. I'm saying happy like being content and being, obviously you're going to have sad days and you're going to be sad and you might have waves of depression and you might have, there's also mental diseases. I have diagnosed depression and anxiety. So I literally have ups and downs all the time, and every single day am scared, and I haven't been diagnosed, but I believe that I have OCD, and that definitely has a detrimental point in my mind. And I'm not saying that every single day I'm going to be smiling and I'm going to be, skipping down the street, but just being happy, and when you go to bed, you're happy and you're grateful to be here. And you're like, I am doing what I want to be doing. And I'm not just talking job, I'm talking life. I'm talking you are content. I know I keep saying almost the same phrases, but I think it's really important. And I think that this episode, growing up, is this is so detrimental in growing up, and I think people forget about it. Not detrimental. Is that the right word? Important? Important is what I'm saying. I was trying to go for a higher vocabulary. But, be happy in yourself and work. And if you're not, try to fix it. It's okay if you're not. But believe me, I am not happy with all of myself. Blair is probably hitting the microphone. I'm sorry to the audio. But I mean, I have a bunch of things I can work on, and Blair is now on my nose. I'm sorry, guys. I'm not trying to interrupt, but Blair is like such a little like she is literally just trying, like, I don't even know. Anyways, I don't know my notes now, so I might ramble and then remember what I am. But talking about, but yeah, just when you go throughout life, make sure you're happy. And again, I'm not saying make sure you're skipping down the street or make sure you're smiling. I'm saying make sure that your soul and your mind are happy. And also, I really want to talk about how growing up is not it's not just like certain ages. It's not, you don't just grow up at 16 or at 18 or 13. And like I know like we have these ages, or 21. Like I know we have these ages where it's like, oh my gosh, like this is such like a fundamental number that we have to turn into to like hit a new successful point of growing up. But you grow up every single day. Every single day you are changing and you are growing. And I don't think people understand, and I sometimes forget that every single day you are growing up. When you wake up, you're going to bed not the same person. Like I said that backwards. When you go to bed, you are not going to bed as the same person you woke up as. That was the correct way to say it. But you grow up every single second. And I'm not just saying physically your age increases. I'm saying your mind evaluates and your mind changes and you grow with some maturity and you learn new things. And I think that learning is a very important thing in growing up. You have to be able to accept new knowledge and you have to be able to invite knowledge in and want to learn in order to grow up. Like, if you don't want to learn, and I'm not talking about reading a textbook, but if you don't want to learn, you can't evolve. And I think it's a really important thing to, like, take it. And I think it'll also help mental health. It's not so stressful that if you're like, okay, I grew up a little bit today and I made mistakes and that's okay because I am growing and I am changing and I am becoming a person who I want to be at the end of my time. And I just think it's a very important thing to look at and be like, wait, I'm okay. 20, like I don't have to stress about turning 21. I don't have to stress about turning 20. And I just can take it day by day because I'm growing day by day. And each day it will be different. And I can change. And it also, like, you do allow yourself to change. When you put this into perspective, you allow yourself to change because you're like, it's okay. Like, I am growing up. I am changing. I am evolving. And I just think that sometimes we get sucked into like a little capsule of like, oh my god, like 18 was such a big year. And obviously it is a big year because you do turn legally an adult and a bunch of things do happen. It is a big year. But it's also the day after I turned 18 was as just important as the day I did turn 18. Because I was learning and I was growing and I still am. And everyone will be until we end up, our souls move on is how I should say it. Until our souls move on, we are all changing and growing up. Another really big thing that I really want to, like, I don't know if express, that's the word I was looking for. Okay. Another big thing that I really want to express is I believe it is so important to have your child in you while you're growing up. And let me elaborate on that. I think we all need to make sure that when we are growing up, we still have our child in us, the child that we look back on and we hope that they're proud of us. But also, there is such a sense of childhood that I don't think a lot of people think about all the time. And it's so important. Why holding on to the child in you is so important is because that child, children in general, but I'm talking to like your past child, it was innocent, it was kindness, they were grateful and excited. And when I say this, I'm saying they weren't innocent like they didn't know about sex. I'm saying they were innocent as they don't. Obviously, there's good and evil in the world, but when I say it like this, I'm talking about um, they were innocent as they didn't look at people and they weren't like, are they good or are they evil? They just looked at people with kindness and with happiness. And I think that is such an important thing to hold on to, but also kindness. Children, yes, obviously they go through the toddler stage and they go through the 3 and 4 stage, and they can be little bratty sometimes. Let's be honest. I have 4 younger siblings, and I definitely have seen, and I'm sure they have seen it in me too, even though I am the oldest. Everyone at ages can be bratty. It happens. It happens. That is just how growing up is. But children are so kind. I had the girl yesterday. I was at work. I work at a frozen yogurt store, if people don't know that. But I was at work and there was a little girl, probably around 5, and she was just the most precious. Like, she would just smile. She was just big old, like, gleaming smile at me, like, waving. Even after I checked them out, they were, like, sitting down, and, like, the girl and I would make eye contact, and we would just, like, smile at each other, and, like, it was just so sweet, and she was so, like, pure, and, like, just kind, and, like, just sweet. Like, literally, that is, like, the embodiment of a child. I think it's so important to not lose that when you get older. And for my siblings who are watching this, please, please, please keep your childness in you. And please, as you get older, do not change who you are. And I think everyone should listen to this, but I'm directly speaking this to my siblings because I love you guys and I know that you guys are listening to this. And I want you guys to take this in because I'm obviously at a very different age than you guys are. So I want to be able to help you guys. But hold in that innocence and hold in that kindness and the excitement. I mean, when you're a kid, you step outside and you're excited. You don't know what's going to happen. Every single thing as you get older, it's like a new thing every single day that you've never got to experience before. And hold on to that excitement when you're getting older. You have to let your inner child still be there. You have to have that literal like child, the one that runs around, the one that's excited, the one that plays outside. You have to have that in you. And I'm not talking immatureness. I'm talking, and my mom said this today because I told her about this episode and what I was going to do. She said it is a principle that it is not childlikeness, or no, sorry, it is childlikeness. It is not childishness. So it's not acting like a child. I'm not saying act like a child. I'm not saying be immature. I'm saying make sure you hold on to that childlikeness and you have that in you and you have that in your soul. That way you don't lose it. Because we may be growing up and we may be getting older, but some of the best moments in our life and some of the most fundamental moments in our life was when we were a child. And there's a reason why people say that children are sponges and that, you know, we see children go at playgrounds and that kind of stuff and have the time of their life and not worry about anything in life. And I think it's so important. I try to hold in my inner childness, and every time I might act a little goofy or my mom might do something, I'm like, she is holding on to her inner child, and I need to hold on to my inner child. And it's okay. It's not embarrassing to, like, be a little bit goofy or, like, have such a happiness about something where other people might be like, why are you so happy about that? So, if you take anything from this episode, please, while you grow up, take in your inner childness because I feel that it's so important. Okay. So I think that is all I wanted to talk about for this episode right now. Another thing that I want to talk about was obviously this year we have election. It is 2024. And it's a very fundamental election. Let me actually get on my hat because I have this hat here that has been sitting. If you're on YouTube, you probably saw it. but it is a hat that says, for audio people, bands off our bodies. And I am not going to say who to vote for. I am not going to say who to vote for, but I am going to say please vote. And this election is so fundamental and it is so important for our rights, for our climate, for our ecosystem, for our health, and for us as humans. It is so important for this election to go out and vote. You have power, you have a voice. So please go out. I am urging you. Election day is November 5th. Please go out and vote. Again, I'm not going to say who to, but please educate yourself and please think about not only yourself, but your mothers and your daughters and your sons and your nieces and nephews and your neighbors and your friends, because this election is not about you, it's about us and it's about humans. And if you say, I will do anything to protect you, protect them by doing this. Please go vote. But anyways, that is all for today's podcast. I appreciate you all listening and tuning in for episode 2. And I hope something in today's episode did help you. And I hope that this kind of opened up your mind a little bit about how many things go into getting older and growing up. But yeah, that's really all I have to say for right now. So remember that you only live once, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.